When Theresa May took to the stage at Conservative Party conference and declared that she was going to end austerity, the Prime Minister won a day of positive headlines, but she also made a rod for her Chancellor's back. Ministers who had been told by the Treasury that there was no extra money for schools, defense, prisons, police, and more began to think again. After all, if austerity really is ending, what's the problem? Ever since Philip Hammond was appointed Chancellor by May, the pair have had a strained relationship. The problem is that Philip Hammond is now under pressure to reveal a budget on Monday which balances the books, funds a range of pre-announced policies, avoids any unpopular tax rises and marks the beginning of the end of austerity. Given that the Institute for Fiscal Studies has said that even the lightest interpretation of ending austerity would cost at least £19 billion and mean either increasing borrowing or raising Britain's tax burden to its highest level for nearly 70 years, that's no easy task. Squeaky bum time. This is not the first time Theresa May has put her neighbour in a tight spot. Ever since Philip Hammond was appointed Chancellor by May, the pair have had a strained relationship thanks in large to their different approaches to the economy. While Hammond is a Tory fiscal hawk whose attention to detail has earned him the title, Spreadsheet Phil, Theresa May is regarded as a big spender by Tory standards. Her approach to the economy has more in common with Ed Miliband than Margaret Thatcher, says one MP. Ahead of the snap election, things were so bad between the two that there were frequent briefings about the Prime Minister's plan to sack him in a post-landslide victory reshuffle. That landslide victory never arrived and May has since been in too weak a position to sack her Chancellor. As a result, the pair have had to find ways to work around their differences. All eyes will be on Remain-minded Hammond to see how he or he is on the issue of Brexit. The austerity line is the latest in a series of interventions that have seen Number 10 put pressure on the Treasury to loosen the purse strings. Although May suggested that austerity would truly end a Brexit deal, that small print appears to have got lost in translation. This week ought to be the point when the Treasury puts the final touches to the budget, but rumors have swirled of last-minute rejigs and changes thanks to pressure from Number 10 to make sure it is a good news event, which the Labour Party cannot weaponize as proof austerity isn't ending. In his role as chief bean counter, Hammond has been attempting to dampen down requests from magpie ministers. Liz Truss, Chief Secretary to the Treasury, used Cabinet to argue that any lifting of the public sector pay cap had to be based on retention rather than a blanket increase for all. Hammond may have managed to avoid some of the tricky decisions for now owing to reports this week that better-than-expected public finances have reportedly left him with an extra £13 billion to play with. Limitations. Given that the Conservatives have no majority, there are limits to how bold Hammond could go even if he wanted to. The one time he did try and raise taxes, a national insurance rise for the self-employed, it had to be junked following a Tory rebellion. Plenty of tricky sells have already been ruled out by the Treasury for the same reason. With billions required for the NHS, ending the fuel duty freeze had been mooted but proved so toxic in the press that it was ditched. Hammond is under pressure to help aid the resurgence of the Scottish Conservatives by making sure duty on spirits is frozen again. Ahead of the snap election, things were so bad between May and Hammond that there were briefings about the Prime Minister's plan to sack him as for Brexit, the very reason the budget is so early this year. The priority will be to try and avoid that thorny issue. There were concerns that Eurosceptic MPs or the DUP could use the vote as a way to threaten the government over the negotiations. Give us the Brexit we want, or we vote the budget down. As a result, all the big Brexit decisions are being held off until after the budget. All eyes will be on Remain-minded Hammond to see how he or he is on the issue. The Chancellor may tell worn-down MPs that austerity will only truly end once a Brexit deal has been done. Philip Hammond isn't a natural showman. But with the Chancellor under pressure to deliver a political vision rather than a spreadsheet in Conservative unity at a low ebb, don't be surprised if Monday's event has unintended fireworks. At Katie Ball's More on Budget 2018.